Hi guys, and welcome back to another video where I'll be talking to you about my Dell XPS 9300 2020 model and my monitor, my P2719HC, and it's a 27-inch monitor, and I'll be talking to you a little bit about these two machines now that I've owned them a little bit longer, used them a bit more, and the fact of what I've found out over this time, which necessarily didn't come to light when I first were using it in the first couple of weeks and months. So to kick things off, I just thought I'd let you know a couple things about the pair. So first thing, these work really great together as a pairing, especially working from home, which we all are doing now. So I do consider this a pretty decent work from home setup. Obviously you can have a second monitor here connected to this 27-inch. You can have dual and close your laptop and take it off your desk if you need your table space. But as this stands, it works really well for me. With this being 13 inches, it slots just under the level of the Dell logo or parallel with it sort of thing. And I can move the screens up and down, obviously with a dual display of course. And it's just really good for working on different applications, different softwares. Excel is something I use a lot, as well as my emails. So having the two screens open, also split screens with how you can do the top here, really good size being a 27-inch. So I definitely recommend having this screen and this laptop together if you're thinking of a work from home setup. Some things I've seen in the comments about these two is asking if it's got a aux in port. So on the monitor it doesn't. So to run through the ports on the monitor, there's two normal USB ports here, there's another two USB ports at the back, there's two display ports, there's one HDMI port, there's the USB-C cable which connects into this, which also charges it at the same time from the monitor, and then there's also the power cable for the screen, which plugs into the wall of course. That's all the ports at the back. There are no ports along this edge. You've got five buttons here, including the power button, and four other buttons to do options of the screens, changing the colour, the balance, and the setup, things like that. And the two USB ports are just here where my fingers are. I'll take the camera around and cut in me going around the back of the machine so you can see what the port setup looks like and if it's applicable for you and your needs. So a lot of people have asked how would you add speakers to this particular setup. So the only way I've done it myself is that I have my aux cable which goes into the headphone jack here, and that then plugs into my little Bose speaker into that jack, or you can do it via Bluetooth. That's the only way I can personally see that you can have speakers. For me personally, that's not such a big issue because I use this for work. Any YouTube or films I watch it through the laptop speakers, which are pretty reasonable. They're not as good as the MacBook Pro's speakers, which you may have seen in comparisons in other reviews, but they're pretty reasonable enough to know that it's all I need, to be honest. So that aside, some other things that I found really good about the machine is just the clarity of the image and the screen. So especially on this machine here, my laptop, is this, I opted for the non 4K version, so I went the FHD, correct me if I'm wrong, plus screen, the best HD screen they do, essentially, which isn't the 4K, which sucks the battery life somewhat. And I also went for the touchscreen option. Some may think it's a bit gimmicky, but I actually do use it quite a lot, especially useful with websites or sheets that you've got to fill out with a lot of drop downs, etc. You can go through it a lot quicker and just scroll through just like if it was your tablet. So I find that quite a useful option and something I would recommend if you were on the fence about. So with regards to the clarity and the colour, obviously you can see here on this screen it's really great. Obviously on the monitor it's not going to be as good as the laptop screen, but I have to say it does stand up pretty well. I've watched YouTubes and movies on both screens. The blacks do come up a lot better on the XPS than it would do the monitor, of course, something just to bear in mind. But overall they're pretty good. it's what you're going to need most likely. I can't imagine needing much more for my personal circumstance. You know, if you want to have a cinema experience, buy a projector and put it on a big wall, or buy a large TV. So for a laptop and a monitor setup, I think we're pretty good of where it is. So just moving on to perhaps something, some little niggles that I've found about owning this sort of setup and using it day in day out for work, of course, with lockdowns and whatnot, working from home. So the monitor charges the laptop constantly. You can turn it off or on in the settings, whether you want the USB-C here to be charging your machine. I have it charging on, so I don't always have the monitor on, so it just keeps the battery topped up, which is quite good. However, I have found that this cable here, it just feels that little bit loose in the port, where it just concerns me. I've tried it in the left, I've tried it in the right, it's the same sort of fit, where it just feels a little bit loose. As you can see here, I'm moving it about, nothing's happening to the screen, but it just feels that little bit loose, and where the cable trails off that way, I do try and keep it just straight on to the machine as much as possible, just to stop the sort of stress on the port sort of thing, if there was such a thing. It's actually something to bear in mind, because with using, say, if you want to, obviously the new iPhone's got USB-C now, I charge my iPhone through this port on this side, and it's a really snug, good, solid fit. So I was a little bit disappointed that the monitor cable, which goes into the products, both made by Dell, wasn't as a good snap, shut and close fit. It's quite loose. It would come out quite easy if I just pulled my laptop away, which I guess is a good thing and a bad thing, depending how you look at it. So that was just something that I've discovered. The other thing was the charger cable. If you're not charging via your monitor and just from the wall like normally, here is that, and the same with the laptop actually, they have a really bright little light inside here, and there's a light just here. So when it's on charge via the wall, actually not now, it's super bright, and during the day it's not an issue, who cares. But at night, if you're using it at night, or if you're in bed and it's late, you've got the lights out, you're doing some work late, it does literally act like a night light. And if you leave your laptop on charge by the side of your bed, like I do sometimes working late, it's like a night light, and I actually have to put it under my bed, or cover it with a cover, just to stop the light, just keeping me up essentially. It is that bright. So that's just something else, just what I'd mention. Neither here or there whether it affects you, but just a little quirk. And I suppose to sum up, to be completely honest about it, I think the laptop and monitor is pretty good. I'd give it, for the money, the combined setup costing me just under or around about £2,000. I'm quite happy with it. I'd probably give it a 7.5 to 8 out of 10, because there are some issues which I've mentioned before in other videos about the cooling of the laptop. It gets quite hot, it's quite noisy at times. Another issue that someone spoke about was if you put headphones in the headphone jack here, it can crash your laptop. And it happened actually. I put headphones in, usually I use Bluetooth, but I put my headphones in, and it did crash my laptop, which I was quite surprised about / annoyed. So that was another thing I was a bit disappointed with Dell, that these sort of things are still happening, even with these latest and greatest products that they're bringing out. Something which I thought would be quite simple not to have happen is a headphone input crash your laptop. But nonetheless, if you're not a headphone user and use Bluetooth headphones like I do most of the time, then it shouldn't be too much of a concern for yourselves. So from that, I'd just like to end it there. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below, and I'll answer them all to the best of my ability and knowledge, and give you guys my honest feedback and review on it. So once again, thanks for that, and see you again soon.